once you learn how to do YouTube, I mean, heck, dude, just spend all day making good YouTube videos. Don't even build a website. Just put a link to your Calendly.
That's it. Yeah, they do. It's really well said, man. And it's a double-edged sword of the entrepreneur. It's actually the same thing that makes you excellent is the same thing that pulls you back. One of the reasons I believe N8N has grown so quickly, and I was chatting to Nick about this, is the fact that they aligned themselves very nicely with AI Agent, and they probably are the most accessible way to build agents if you're a complete beginner. Stephen Pope, welcome back to the channel, bro. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Dude, I love that beautiful shiny trophy behind you, man. It's looking fantastic. It's got some heft to it.
Yeah, man.
It's got some weight to it.
I know. When I first opened it, I was like, "Whoa, this is actually like it's a substantial trophy here." Now the next thing is I want to try to get that YouTube
The plaque.
100,000.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, the plaque.
I agree. That'd be a big one actually, because every 100K, you got 100K, a million, and then 10. It's basically every 10x after that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just focused on that 100K. I've been telling my daughter that I'm gonna get that soon.
Dude, you'll get that 100%. I've no doubt about that. No doubt about that. It's like funny thing with subscribers, like especially on YouTube, is like I've always found it's very bursty. Like you can have steady, like slow growth periods. But I remember when I got my first 15K, 11K of them came from one video. It was crazy,
Right, yeah.
like how like choppy the growth can be with YouTube.
Yeah, I learn more and more as I go. Like last year I had some really great growth, and then I kind of plateaued a little bit, and then I had a couple of videos that didn't do very well at all, which is like a real wake up call. Like you get real focused in on that because once you start to it's hard to tell people this. It's it's hard to spend a lot of time on YouTube videos when you're not getting anything from them, right? So you kind of first have to believe that it's going to work at all. But then once you get it, then you're like, whoa, this is like really important, right? I got to make this work. And then all the little stumbles you have like feel much bigger because you're like, whoa, like I was doing really good. And now all of a sudden, like I didn't. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool because you start to learn, like you really focus in on those videos. You're like, what was wrong with those videos? And
yeah, I agree with that. It's almost like I think in YouTube growth, you always hit these plateaus, and like it's these little small mini pivots in different directions. You can definitely like overanalyze the videos done. It's like what is not
Right.
well, right? Like because like it's like who's actually watching it. Like if you did a videos like, dude, if you're a CEO of like a Fortune 500 company, watch this to double your profits, and you get like 11 views. Best 11 views of your life, right? But it's like
right.
talking about DeepSeek 6.9 is going to blow your mind. You may get 1 million views, but like, is that the right viewership for your audience? And it's like the thing I'm finding a lot about YouTube is the deeper you do, that rabbit hole goes so deep, man. There's so much to learn.
It does,
nuances
yeah.
and crevices, especially like how important the first 30 seconds was. Like I just came back from Dubai. I sat down with David and it's okay, do you know he got 1 million views on an N8N video? I was like, bro, what did N8N give you for that video? He said they gave me a mug with N8N. I think it might have been 2 mugs. It might have been 2 mugs actually. And I was like, dude, that's so freaking cool. And I had him like explain to me like, why do you think this video did so well? And it was interesting to hear like his like the way he was thinking about it. He said, well, actually, when the video started, this was happening and that was happening. And I was like, oh, it's quite interesting actually how deep the psychology gets and how important the thumbnails and titles are and the testing that people do.
Right.
And there's so many different schools of thought with this, man. But it's like the same power.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, no, I agree. Like it's like there's definitely things to learn from other people, but there's definitely things that you get distracted by from other people.
Oh yeah.
Like, were you talking about David Andre?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So like, my guess is that some of these different channels, like, they have different audiences or different preferences of people that are watching. So yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, also like in this space in particular, in our space, it's also moving quickly.
It is. Yeah.
It's becoming very competitive. Like
it's also
when we started last year, it was like, I mean, there was still a lot, but now there's just tons. So like, how do you navigate that, right?
I think that's good to double click into the creator economy talking about that, because the other thing is like I'm learning recently is like momentum and this idea that algorithms need to place you on a specific area. And I've certainly had times where I do videos that are one is over here and the second is over there, and it shows your second video to all of your first audience. And like, you may have like 2,000 people that really freaking love that topic. But then when you go a million miles over here, maybe you go from faceless video creation to I don't know, like what I don't know, something completely different. It's like
Right, I know what you mean.
so this is almost like I'm finding like a lot of people that get really cool structured growth like have like that really cool avatar locked in, and it's like videos that
Right.
like every video you like they'd watch the next sort of video, which I thought was quite interesting because like
Right.
they're trying to map you, the algorithm is right, which I think is quite interesting.
So I think you can learn a lot by watching other people, and then but then you got to ignore a lot as well, because like you kind of have to know what your center is, and then you got to learn from other people. Like I think I kind of gleamed what was wrong with my videos, the ones that didn't do well for like probably like the last month or so. Like you know, it's like you can also get kind of like complacent. Like you can take your foot off the gas. I get, you know, as another way to put it.
Well, did
Like
a year ago you could have put like I don't know. It was the conversation was all around like connecting Airtable to Gmail, and that was like, oh my god, this is like game changing. So it's funny actually how the average knowledge, like the audience knowledge base, is like evolving. So I'd be interested to know when you're creating content, are you creating it with a brand new beginner in mind? Because that's something I tried to balance well is like explain it in a way that like if you just this was the first thing you ever saw, you could kind of follow along. But then it's also balance, isn't it? Because when you have like a more mature audience who kind of get all that stuff, how you keep that really like engaging for that audience that they don't like, okay, I know how to connect to Gmail, for example. So it's an interesting like balance as a creator, like, and you can go really niche and just say, I don't even show you how it works at all. I just kind of show you what it is and you get it. And some people get that, but definitely not everybody.
I don't know. I think that's kind of the skill. It's like how do you kind of boil it down to simple things so that other people, that new people can kind of gravitate and like learn, or at least envision themselves doing it, but not necessarily push away the more advanced people. You know, I tend to like to build things that are kind of interesting. I mean, this is kind of like my thing. Like this is what I feel like I'm good at, is like just kind of coming up with cool ideas and putting things together. And so I think that even if you're a beginner, you can still you could see what it's possible, you know? So, so even if it's a little overwhelming, and I
Yeah.
still try to like build it from scratch, you know? So I don't have a perfect answer to that, but that's kind of like my methodology is like, I'm going to have a hard time just doing it day after day if I'm only like connecting, you know, Airtable to Gmail and do that kind of
Yeah.
thing. That's just me, right? That doesn't mean that it's not a good video to make,
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Well, so it's interesting to talk about the creator economy because this whole AI automation thing, like, how do we know this, bro? Is because you see Evan Gadzi talking about AI automation, Ty Lopez talking about AI automation, and so it's reaching this level of mainstream, and it's like we have this general populace that started a year ago, like you and I, and a few others, and there's a kind of general base of like knowledge. It's like people getting more mature and savvy, but at the same time, all this new stuff. So I think in this creator economy for AI automations, we're almost in phase two of the market, where we had this beautiful thing about creating real community. Because like actually, there's interesting concepts as well around social media. That social media is actually just becoming a media. It's losing the social part because you don't get served to your audience anymore. Like YouTube, for example. Like I was talking to a buddy with a few 100,000 subscribers, and he said like, but where are they? They don't exactly turn up to the videos, and there's no real social, which is why this community thing that I know you do, I do, is really cool because you get to actually build
Yeah.
relationships. But we're
Right.
losing that, and I think like when we started that a year ago, and it's still so like it's such a fast growing industry. It's only going to go up, but I think we're at the point now where I think people start to create more specialized, like more niches become defined, right? Because like as the market matures a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Like, and I think there's room for everyone as long as you're kind of willing to like, you know, own your thing kind of thing, you know, like, cause like if you see what other people are doing and you get distracted and you're like, oh, I see, oh, wow, his video just did really good. Like, let me copy that. You could get really lost, and you could also confuse the people that originally liked you. Like there's another guy that, his name's Jay Robo Nuggets, really cool guy. And, I found his video on TikTok actually. And then it turned out he knew me, but I thought he was really like, he's like a really genuine guy. And like from the outside, I was just mentioning it to him. I was like, wow, it seems like what's cool about you. And I wasn't trying to influence him, but I was just telling him my perception. I was like, it seems like from my side, like you're 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 doing the automation stuff, which is cool, but you're also like you're more into like the prompting and like making really cool videos. So like you made a faceless video, but you also made one that was like really like a good one. Like it was like not just one that was technically proficient, but it was creating like cool stuff. And so that was just an observation for me because, or for him, because there's probably a lot of people that, yeah, they like the automation part of it, but they're creatives. Like they're visual people. They like nerding out on the prompt and making the image super beautiful. Like for me, if I create an AI image, like I'll get excited about it for like 3 seconds. You know, it's like, oh, this looks really cool, but I'm not going to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper on how to make the better prompt. But some people are really interested in that, right? So like if you own that, then you can really attract a whole other group that nobody's even serving.
Yeah, and I love the fact that there's so many different areas you could like lean into. I think that's what makes the space so beautiful and creative. And I think we're really lucky because it's such like a collaborative environment, and everyone, like, you know, the sharing and the growing, I think, is really important. So it's like all markets go through that stuff, like the knowledge base, but we're still at the point where like like there's so much to apply to the real world that we haven't seen yet. But dude, I want to zoom
Yeah.
out for a second because, like, dude, you're living life in beautiful Los Angeles, and like I've been talking about geography a little bit the past couple of weeks because I'm like leaving the UK at the moment. And dude, how have you found it, bro, being an entrepreneur in LA? I know so many sick businesses are getting built there. What's your kind of take on international moves? Is Stephen Pope popping around different countries, bro? As an entrepreneur, bro, tell me like your point of view on that. Because
Well, truthfully, like I just grew up here, so I've always liked LA. Like there's the mountains, the snow, the beach, the desert, and you know I like the laid back culture. And in reality, like my business life has nothing to do with LA. Although it is pretty cool that I live next to the school headquarters because
that's
it
really
makes it
cool.
easy to go there and kind of visit and stuff. So but that's kind of like one tiny little thing. So I would say like for the most part, like my business life is online. I don't really travel much. I got a whole family, right? I got a wife and kids and they're in school. So like, you know, I'm sometimes jealous of the people that are just like, yeah, I'm just going to move around and do all these things. Cause there's a certain part of me that enjoys that, like kind of like that thing, but it's just not part of my existence right now. I have to stay pretty focused. So like for me, I guess like LA is just a cool place to live. I don't think it really gives me an advantage in terms of business per se, you know?
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, I loved LA. I know, like, the funny law, you and I were going to meet. I think like LA is so confusing because school doesn't really come to their HQ. So I ended up like 20 miles this way, and I was like, I'm outside the building. Like, which building? I'm like, the Department of Education. It's like, dude, that's like 20 miles that direction. So
Yeah, LA is like LA is confusing. Like I know the freeways really well. Like once I get on a freeway, I can get anywhere I want. But like if you're not on a freeway and you're like trying to find the right one to get on or the entrance to get on the right one, like it can be quite confusing, especially if
I bet.
you haven't been
I
around.
bet. Well, actually, we just Googled the address from school online, took a taxi there, and then Sam Ovens fan was like, "Dude, that's not our address." I was like, "It's the one online, Sam." But I actually had the best coffee I ever had in LA. I was like, "It's from Bluebird, Blue Bottle or something." I was like, "This is literally unfreaking believable." So that was really memorable. But we'll get back out to LA soon and do it. But yeah, dude, it's like actually,
Yeah, for sure.
it's cool because I think entrepreneurs tend to fit into two buckets, and I guess a lot of it kind of depends on where you're at in your life. Like if you've got the more kind of like connections and ties you have, right? Like if you're married, if you have kids, you have systems, you build a life and an environment. And like some people try to optimize a lot for like tax, and you know for that there's different options like Morocco or Dubai sort of stuff, but they aren't free lunches. Like there are trade-offs for doing things like that, which I think is quite interesting. But like I'd say like the UK is a climate. Like, UK is a really cool country, but it's got like a real problem with like entrepreneurs leaving it. In fact, I think it's number two in the world for most millionaires leaving, second only to China,
Interesting.
and that's based on volume, by the way. So
And are you leaving? Are you leaving just to like explore and have fun, or is it like a business
I'd
decision?
say it's like 80% business decision, 20% exploring.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I lived in Italy for a year, and that was really beautiful. I enjoyed that when I was doing my degree. I didn't do much on the studying out there, but we did have a great time. So part of it's like fun and exploring, but also it just becomes too expensive to live in the UK, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So that was always really.
Yeah, I mean, LA and California. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah, I bet, dude. And it's like when you start figuring out like your effective tax rates and stuff, you start asking questions and like doing the comparables. But the cool thing about LA though, like it's your when you if you create a business in LA and you sell it, you only get taxed like 10%, don't you, on that or something? It's actually quite relatively low compared to other geographies. It's not too bad if you're trying to build wealth through a company.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think LA itself would tax you. Quite frankly, I don't even know all those rules. Like every time, like
Yeah, it's like as far as
I
I
hate,
understand, like California,
that's like my
yeah.
I hate talking about taxes and like all that stuff. Like I know some people love to nerd out on that. It just it bores me to no end. So like, and it to be honest, it also frustrates me because like I'm probably not going to move. So it just kind of more irritates me to even like think about those numbers because I'm just like, oh, well, that's just money that I'm going to throw away,
I
So
agree. I think you're much better off spending time on like like doing better at making more, adding more value, than like I do more than I think.
yeah, I mean, especially like the older I get, you know, I mean, I don't know how old you are exactly, but
30,
you know,
33 as of 2 weeks ago. So yeah,
nice, man. Happy birthday.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm 46, right? So I have to be like, I think the main thing I'm learning in my life right now is like, how do you like, and I'm not saying I'm super good at this. This is still something that I need to get really good at, but it's like that razor focus.
Yeah,
I
dude.
think that when you're younger, you sometimes I think you do have more energy to do certain things and more time. So like, so how do I, I've got to be I've got to use wisdom to beat you guys,
Well, dude,
versus
I tell you what I think, bro. I think it's so easy to get caught like with the tail starts wagging the dog. Like it's like what is the
oh
actual
yeah,
objective of that? And this is get like take a zoom out before we zoom back in, but like on a kind of like actual what are you doing and why do you do it? And it's so easy to forget like the actual journey is the fun part. Like there's no number
sure.
of automations you solve, right? Where you're like, okay, this is cool. But it's like I say this because I saw on a podcast recently they were talking about like is there like an amount of money or is there a level of like success in business or AI where you'd be like, hey, like I'm really happy about that. And the prevailing wisdom is that actually when you reach it, the number just moves up artificially anyway. It's like a never-ending
Right.
target you never reach. But actually, if it, like we're really lucky, I think, to do what we do because like it's really fun and the
Yeah.
process itself is just like freaking like really rewarding. Like to go and do those things and talk about.
Yeah, I made a post about this the other day, like in my other community, just like because like it was one of those moments where I was realizing I was like, whoa, like right now at this moment I'm kind of struggling, and then seeing a few other people just being like skyrocketing, and just being like, oh man, like it's frustrating, but also kind of realizing that it's like I actually kind of enjoy this. I'm a pretty competitive person, so like seeing that it's also nice in a way because I'm like, oh okay, like it kind of resets the bar because I think that is the truth. Like in the end, like I enjoy building these things. I enjoy tinkering and building stuff, and I'm competitive. So like I like to try to win, and it's not so much about. I mean, it's obviously about the money, especially if you live in L.A. and
Those
California. But
coffees, man. Yeah.
it's not as much about that for me. It's like it. I always think it's funny. It always is the people that have more money that say that money's not important. I do think it is,
Yeah.
like especially at a certain level. But it is true. Like once you get to a certain level, you're like, well, I need to get this and then this, and it kind of never ends. So it is important to like keep doing what you want to do for the reasons you want to do it, and not always get caught up on who's got more subscribers or making more money than you.
I think that's true. Actually, we were kind of flirting with the conversation around media and growth and stuff. And just when I met a guy, so I met a 19-year-old who's doing 5 million ARR with emails, and we were talking about like
Wow.
numbers, right? And this idea that like YouTube subscriber is worth 10x a TikTok follower, and an email is worth 10x like a YouTube subscriber. And what about actually like if you're in like the dating market, the ultimate number that people flex is Instagram. Like no one ever says, "Hey, Stephen, how many YouTube subscribers have you got?" Right? They're like, "How many Instagram followers have you got?" That's the kind of cloud platform. So my joke was that how do you how do you react when you tell them how many your email list sizes? But the thing is, they're absolutely crushing it with email, dude. And what was really interesting talking to that guy is they got their first 3,000 people on campus at university, and I said, "Hey, this is like an AI newsletter. Sign up." And basically, what they did is they paid them $1 to sign up, and then once they signed up, they said, "Great, well, here's 3 or 4 other cool newsletters we think you'd like." And they got kind of like email list arbitrage, and they made their money back. So they got like zero CAC on the first 3K. But the TLDR is they scaled through paid acquisition on X. And
Wow.
ads is an interesting one because when I've hired like my past tech startup and stuff like PPC experts, it almost every single time you end up losing more money than you put into it. And I know there's like
Yeah, same with me.
formula. I know it's crackable, but it's almost like the only people that seem to make money in most cases are the guys who are selling you the ads. Unless you get
Yeah.
the other bit I nailed that. But
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I'm the same way. Like I've tried to do it several times, and every time I got burned. I think it's a special like mindset. Like you probably need to get good at it, really good at it yourself, which is probably going to take a lot of time, right? Like it's a special skill, right? So like if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel and you're trying to learn organic growth and you're trying to like do all these like videos and like test them all, then it's going to be hard, right? Because you're doing too many things. And then if you hire somebody else, like the person that's able to do it is probably going to be pretty pricey, and then you're paying the ads on top. So like number one, you'd have to make sure you found somebody that was good, and then number two, you'd have to stomach probably losing 25 30,000 bucks before it really became something that was working well.
Yeah, it's a great point actually, because I know for a fact ads work. Obviously they work, and I think like it's good to run them and things, but it's also there's other costs to consider. Like you say, one is the focus. If you're focused on getting better at a platform, it's easy to say, "Oh, we'll just," but actually there's so many
Right.
hidden like
That's the thing. Yeah.
to that.
Getting good at something there's so many hidden things that you're not looking at. Like it's just like I hear people all that like in my community all the time. They're like, well, it's just this. I'm just gonna do that, and I'm like, it's not just
It's
that,
not.
dude. Like you're gonna like. That's why I tell people it's like you don't need a website, you don't need all those things, because you say that it's gonna take you a day, but like once you make the website and then you change your offer, now this website becomes this baggage that you have. Every time you change your offer, you're back at your website and you're changing it. So like these little things that people fool themselves to think that it's just this little thing that I'm going to do. It's like, no, that little thing is the deadly like thing that is going to kill your business. You don't even see it.
That
And I only know that because like that's the trap I keep going into myself. So I have learned through pain that is not. It's like it's a false thing. Like once you like think about this, like we talk about scaling content. I do that. That's part of what I do. But like once you get YouTube working, it's very profitable. So you want to put all your energy into something like that, and it works really well. Like once you learn how to do YouTube, I mean, heck, dude, just spend all day making good YouTube videos, like all week. Don't even build a website. Just put a link to your Calendly.
that's it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so, but it's hard to do that because now you're like, oh, now I have to spend all week on my YouTube video, and then that's actually the hard thing, right? It's much easier to go and like build a website or to make a newsletter or to do all these like little things. Like you can do those things all day, but like sitting down and making good YouTube videos is really going to be hard, and you don't even know how to do it. So that's why I think people get distracted and go do all these other little things.
They do. It's really well said, man. And it's a double-edged sword of the entrepreneur. It's actually the same thing that makes you excellent is the same thing that pulls you back with the shiny object syndrome. And to your point as well on the website thing, what people neglect is we were talking about different platforms, and even if you hire somebody to do it, it comes up in meetings. So just like even now, we spent 20 minutes talking about this thing that we wouldn't do if we weren't doing it. So like, there's so many, when you actually get down to
Right.
intellectual capital that's invested in it, it's not like, it's like, which of the 15 opportunities I have is going to give me the best ROI on it, right? It's funny, YouTube, I mean, like, it almost feels like the big prevailing advice is if you're just starting, no one's going to watch your first 20, 30, 40 videos. You just need to do volume because you're going to be crap, and you need to learn one thing every time and just get started. And then your subject matter expertise increases, but also your competency. But dude, it kind of brings me onto this nice topic about, personal brand, which is really difficult to quantify in a real way sometimes, right? And especially, we talk a lot about AI generated voice, images, videos, and how you sort of leverage that. It's an interesting question about, are personal brands going to be more difficult to build in the future? And I don't actually think this fits in the futurology camp. I think this is a real conversation to have right now, because the growth rate is pretty exceptional with this tech, and it's like, if you do want to leverage that value, it's something to start thinking about today, I think.
Yeah. So like the way I've been looking at a lot of this stuff is it's kind of like there's like research and then kind of like what works. So like, I think when like with the AI generation stuff, like especially with like video, like I think it could work. I think you have to do it in a kind of like a creative way. Like I think right now, like if you just have an AI avatar that talks for 10 minutes, I think it gets pretty monotonous. But I think if you can kind of mix in that with other things, like I have something that I'm working on that I think will be pretty cool, like using green screens, and that way there's other elements and
But
stuff
that's cool.
with that. Yeah, yeah. So I think doing stuff like that, like if like the main thing is like it has to continue to be creative, you know? Like it has to be a creative endeavor. It has to end up being good. The worst thing is like using automation just to pump stuff out, you know? Like I've created a bunch of like faceless video generators, which are really cool to build, but like just turning the machine on isn't going to it's not going to make you rich, right? Like you have to have good ideas and good content, and the videos have to be engaging or nobody's going to watch it, right? Like, so like the automation is nothing more than a way to save money and make it more efficient.
And it's also like, actually, the biggest mistake I see is to automate something that should never exist. It's like, I said, let's find the winning formula, let's find the secret sauce that works, and then let's ask the question, great, how do we make this more efficient to do the same output with no input? But you've got to get the thing working first. Like, I would never start with automate, find out what the formula is. It's like, it's almost like shock, like you do it manually. Yeah, to get started 100%, because we need to experiment and iterate quickly. It's like, the way that I think about AI automation is driving value on two vectors. One is saving the number of repetitions it takes to do something, like a manual time save. And then there's the cognitive investment side of things. Like, and actually with some things, the amount of effort you need to put in, like intellectually, to get it to solve the problem, actually you would have been
Right.
quicker to solve that yourself. So it needs to,
Right.
you're trying to delegate the thinking or reduce the outputs and stuff. And I think like getting something that wins first is going to save you time, because there's no shortage of stuff you can automate, right? It's almost that perspective of like, again, straight back to focus, right? What's the one thing? And actually, that's why few people really crush it, because that's where you need to look at, like understand the right thing and double clicking into it.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly. I agree, man. 100%. Like, so like when people go into businesses and automate things, like the best things to automate are the things that the businesses already have working well. It's just like, you don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel. It's just like, hey, there's something that you do there that's not very efficient. Let me automate it. Anytime people are like saying, hey, I'm going to help you grow revenue with this automation, like it's technically possible, but more than likely you're just magnifying something that company has already kind of figured out. They already have this funnel or something that works, but it's not very efficient, or it's, so like if you can help them scale that working model, then yeah, maybe you can help them make more money. But like if just going into a business and saying you're going to add this automation and it's going to make them more money, it's probably a scam, like it's not going to.
It's like, that's why like you get a higher leverage on your like AI automation if you can understand businesses, commercial acumen, understand like
Right.
what is the problem they actually want to solve. And actually, it may not be AI you need. It might be, but it may also not be. Like, it's like marriage, isn't it? Like you're saying, to the problem, not the stuff. But on that point, bro, with like serving businesses, I think that's a good point to bring up. agents. I mean, agents swept the swept YouTube.
Yeah.
I can like I want to see agents and stuff like, and you've probably seen as well like Make have released their agents. What's your take on
Mm-hmm.
Make Agent, bro? Because one of the questions I get a lot about is NA10 and Make, which is funny because I know you and I both like shared our personal perspectives on this, but it's still there are still so many questions about that. I mean, have you
Right.
had an in-depth look at the Make agents? What Stephen Pope do
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, in terms of the agent itself, I think the N8N agent is easier to use. Like, it's just more visual. You can see it like moving around and doing things, whereas the Make one, it's kind of more hidden. So like on the agent front itself, like I do think the N8N version is just it's more intuitive. But the flip side is like, most of these companies that if you want to sell this stuff into companies, like, you don't probably even need an agent. Like, agents are really good for like natural language communication through chat,
Yes.
right? So like in a lot of cases, like, it's not even going to benefit you. Like, it's cool to learn, it's cool to show, but like when you go into some of these businesses, it's probably not even going to be something that they might not even need. So I do see a lot of people that are just like obsessed with building these things, and like they want to learn them so they can sell them to businesses. And I'm like, man, like, there's not a lot of businesses that even really need that.
I couldn't,
like,
yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, bro. It's like most flows that businesses actually use are deterministic. They're simple, basic, bread and
right.
butter automations that don't.
And those are going to be the easiest ones to implement, right? Like,
Yeah, but it's like, but the weird place we're at right now, like in the zeitgeist, is that the most businesses are kind of unaware, like actually very, very unaware. They don't know how to spell artificial intelligence right now. And I'm hearing that on the local level, like when we do like see the community and stuff. Like everyone's like, dude, I went to a local meetup. No one knows about this stuff. So, but the ones that are aware, they hear these keywords like agents and MCPs, and they're asking for these things. And I'm like, you're all over the map. Like, you don't need to worry about 90% of these like keywords that you heard. Like, actually, I want to strip it back down to basics. So we almost get this the kind of weird hype cycle in AI. Obviously, there's so
oh,
many
it's definitely a hype cycle for sure. But the thing is like, so, I mean, like, a business has to do two things, right? They have to make a good product, and they do have to market.
yeah.
So like in your marketing, using some of these things is, that makes it really interesting and cool. Like, that's cool. But then when the business comes to you, you better have the smarts to like actually get down to business, like transition very quickly from, learning how to take someone's attention from this shiny object into something very meaningful to them. And it's not very hard, because like, I will tell you, like, businesses for the most part, like, they don't really want to tinker with things all the time. They don't want things to be experiments. Like, they would rather, like, it's very disruptive to a business to change a process,
Absolutely.
right? So like, so if you very quickly take a conversation from, hey, I'm interested in agents, to something that's very meaningful to them, like, you'll turn that curiosity into like a real pull, like a real, like, but you have to have the self-awareness to do that, right? Like, if you're caught up in the fact that AI agents are the coolest thing and that everyone should own one, then you're not going to have the awareness to transition that conversation to something more meaningful. But like, like if you can help a business owner like go from that, hey, this is cool stuff, to like, hey, dude, like, this is going to actually be like really profitable for you to do this, which is super boring, and it's going to work, and it's not going to break, and it's like, it's going to run and not just fail all the time. Like, they'll be like, oh, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then it's probably somebody that's really interested in all that stuff only because they're interested, and like, they won't really want to pay you to build it for what it actually ends up costing, because
Yeah, it's kind of this over productization of an agent that you will fudge into the. I don't know what the problem is, but this is definitely the solution type of mentality, rather than understand it.
I will say though, like, if you want to get into agents, like, I think where they're going to be really cool is like, like, everyone's obsessed with like the lovables and like building these SaaS things on websites and stuff like that. But like, and I think it is cool, but I don't know. I think like SaaS in a way is like, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of dying in a way, in the sense that like, what agents are going to be really good at is like connecting up to interfaces that people are using a lot. So like Slack and Telegram and WhatsApp and websites and all these different things. So like my thing is like, if you really want to like come up with products and agents and whatnot, like focus on meeting people where they are actually at, right? Because like if you build a SaaS, now it's like another place I got to go to use your thing. And I think what agents actually do is like they let you do what you want to do on the platform you're already on. So like if your market is on Telegram, or if your market, like if it's a business and everyone's in Slack, like building products into those so that you're not even building an interface. You're just building the back end that is able to connect with these interfaces that people are actually on already. And then you just, because that's like the easiest way, right? Like getting somebody to go to a website and learn a whole new thing in your interface, all that kind of stuff. That's like a whole job you got to now figure out. Whereas if people are already on these platforms, they know how to use it, and you just chat with them on those platforms, that's an easier way to get somebody to adopt you.
Yeah, because it's almost like, what's the ask? The ask is to adopt a new interface. I mean, like, what WhatsApp has a
Right, exactly. That's the real ask.
Yeah, you're trying to ship.
Exactly. That's the way to put it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the exception to that would be if you are bringing out a dashboard, for example, that's connected to the
Right.
data sources. That's cool.
Exactly.
If you're doing it, if you're pushing it to customers, though, it's already a hard enough job as it is to get them to use the thing you want them to use. Don't also bring in a brand new tech stack on top of that. Yeah, and I think those integrations are quite. I'm not getting emotional about it. It's just need some water, but are quite interesting, right? And it's like this thing about Telegram. Telegram is so. The API is gorgeous with Telegram. I really freaking love it. And that's why a lot of businesses now are moving to WhatsApp style communication, because it absolutely crushes. I mean, you must have seen with Meta. The cool thing about Meta, like strategically, is they've got 4 billion customers. So the second they want everyone to use Llama, like even on WhatsApp, right? You open up WhatsApp, you've now got like Llama you can chat to and stuff like that. I think if they let you actually converse with your chats, like one features I would love, I wish that Siri, because I think Apple actually, to be honest with you, has not really been performing to standard when it comes to AI. Like really, Siri and Apple Intelligence, and I know this because I bought one of the Macs, and I was like, this is Apple Intelligence. Like you can't even say to it things like, go and find me a photo I took in Greece next to the statue, and it still can't do that, and that feels like such a no-brainer for Apple. And same with like Meta, like be able to say, hey, what's my passport number? Like maybe you've shared that photo somewhere. Like there's still so much baked in value you could drive based on the platform, because people are using their phones, right? Which is why OpenAI, Anthropic really wanted to get that deal with Apple Intelligence. Like if you can own the device and the touch points that humans use, you have an inherent like kind of structural advantage.
Yeah, and then on that point, like these big companies, there's so much. I've been in tech my whole life, so I kind of know like what happens when companies get larger and larger. There's just a lot more red tape and things are harder to move around, and that's the advantage that we have right now. It's like just like you're a dude, you jump in and you have the AI write you some code, you deploy it, like you can have it write your own end-to-end automation. It'll create the JSON for you. Like. You can move quick if you allow yourself to, right? And yeah, I think that there's a lot, like when we do talk about agents, I think that is kind of what the strategic advantage can be, is just like meeting people where they are on the platforms they already are. So they don't have to learn the interface. And on your point in the dashboards, you're right about that, right? Like if it is a dashboard that you need to see, then there has to be something, but maybe like you're still like letting people interact with it, through chat. Like maybe they want to see something, and then in chat you send them a link to that dashboard and you click on it and it opens up. So it's still kind of like halfway there, So
yeah, there's something about reducing complexity. It's like with onboarding. If you ask them to do, you ask them to do one thing, you tell them 9 times, and maybe hopefully they do it. The biggest mistakes I see with onboarding is like these lists of like his 15 or 16 different things that you need to do. It's the same with email marketing. Like the context under which you should assume people read your comms are they have 2 minutes to read 100 emails. Emails don't get read, they get skimmed. Like that's just the reality of what they do. And this idea of you got to respect, like one of my favorite books is this Don't Make Me Think idea that you don't want to go to system 2 thinking everything should be chimp brain. The information just glides over you. It just makes sense that green means it's good and red means it's bad, and I just push a button and I'm ready to go. Like if you actually,
right,
like it's my belief that 90% of problems could actually be solved if you really thought about it from your audience's perspective. And what would they actually want and what would be the easiest way to get there. And AI can really help crush that. But for me, it's really interesting to see what big tech are doing with it. And I think, you and I, we can move very quick. We see a gap, like we can just easily just say, okay, well, we'll just build something to solve that problem and it just gets fixed straight away. But what's really interesting to me, dude, about N8N and Make, I think if you're scaling a really big business, right, or something you want to sell, you need a exponential factor to it. Like one of the reasons why, like Facebook, and I got this discussion on the All In, I thought it was really cool, that grew so quickly because it had a social network effect, right? One of the reasons I believe N8N has grown so quickly, and I was chatting to Nick about this, is the fact that they aligned themselves very nicely with AI agent, and they probably are the most accessible way to build agents if you're a complete beginner. Now, what's really cool about those platforms is actually as AI gets better, their product gets better. So they could do nothing. And actually, because AI is just way more competent, the actual value of their product stack increases. So for me, that's like a good example of the right way to build AI into what it is that you do. Like, how can it push you forward rather than actually steamroll your actual business?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, and they the way they built it was I agree. Ultimately, it's just like the way they built it was like as AI grows, you can instantly update it and change the models and do all that stuff. It's very flexible, and they were well positioned at the time all this was happening. Like I talked to Make, back in February or January, like the guy that manages their product was there, and they were just kind of slower, and I also said, hey, like let me have early access to it, and I'll like make a video on it, and they didn't give it to me, and I'm not like bitter about it. It's fine, whatever, do what you want to do, but like I don't know, to me, like in the influencer marketplace, that seems like a mistake. Like,
I agree.
just open it up. Like, who cares? Like, you just want people to see it. Like, that's the thing. Like, like even if it didn't work that well, like it would have been, at least it would have been like out there and people would have been, talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I think if you brand it as this is the alpha, like actually what we're not going to do is sit in front of a whiteboard for 2 years and release something. We want to make, because no idea survives contact with the customer, right? We want you to use it, abuse it. Then you have these fast iteration cycles. It's also difficult to reason up from first principles when there's quite a successful AI agent already out there. So it's difficult how do you think about it correctly, but you've got to really, because what's also strange about it is that the way that the N8N agent is used in a lot of people's minds is just how agents should work. That I can see.
Right. That's I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
Because like the thing that Make has going for it actually is that it's very linear and simple to understand. It's always going from this side to this side. And that's actually an advantage, because I see people that jump into N8N and they just get super confused because it's like things can move all around. But for the agent itself, like you can see it running, you can see it thinking like a person. Whereas in the Make version, it's like you open it up and then you see all these like executions that it took. It's hard to like comprehend what it's doing.
Yeah, there's no.
And I think, yeah, N8N was just better positioned from a UI perspective to throw it out there. Like, however they built it, they were just like it was just like, oh wow, like now that the agents are out, we can just implement this, and it fits so well into the way we've built our system. So they were kind of lucky, I don't know that they planned it that way, but their interface is just more visual and not so like this way to this way.
Isn't that really
move all around?
fascinating? Like and I couldn't agree more with you on that visual thing. And like the troubleshooting features, cool. I love the fact the debug editor, and I can go and I can see. Yeah. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because like they've really crushed that, and it's almost like from a product, like the team at Make are really clever. They're switched on. They're really thinking about user experience. There's also this idea that when something is really working, lean into it, like grab it, like leverage it, see how you can take it and level it up. But I think what the N8N agent does is the Uber thing, what the Uber solved, which is like, I know a taxi's coming, where's it coming, what's it doing, where is he, what's going on, like you can see live how it's going out. So I agree. I think the future state of AI agent must be you must see under the hood. We need transparent bonnets. We need to see the engine. so we can see what's, because it's also cool. It's like, that's actually one of the, I think from an emotional psychology perspective, one of the exciting things that you see the cogs turning and it's like, oh wow, it's doing some cool stuff. Whereas this is kind of
Yeah.
like behind a cover at the moment, so you can't really see it.
Yeah. And I don't know, man, like it could be that, that it could be a mistake in a way for Make to try to copy it. Cause like maybe their whole segment is just like more straightforward and easy. Although it's kind of funny because like Make was harder than Zapier in my opinion, but it's still easier because some of those things are kind of hidden from you. So like, like it's kind of hard to be restrained when everyone's talking about agents and whatnot. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like their interface is not well designed for it. In my, just based off of what we're saying. So like,
Was it's interesting that N8N having this kind of canvas with like multiple things below it, like kind of, I mean, Make is thinking about that in terms of the grid, but I think Make biases towards enterprise clients, and it makes me wonder about, it's classic in business, right? If you're behind, you open source. That's like the traditional playbook, right? N8N self-hosting thing is really interesting to me because I ask myself and wonder what the long-term commercial play is with the X amount of users that are using it for free. And I get Make because if you and I are advising Make, we'd be like, okay, great. Like obviously they're driving a lot of revenue from commercial clients, right? Like that's as operations go up, our profits go up. It's an interesting model because N8N kind of divorced itself from that, and self-hosting is becoming more accessible now with different tools.
yeah, and I think it's cool. Like it's funny though, like the self-hosting thing, like it's cheaper kind of if you can deploy these things and manage them, but in a lot of ways that you might waste days and days and days of your time, like,
100%, yeah. Just pay for that.
like, so, yeah, there's so many little nuances to these things. Like in a way though, like it seems like at least right now, like the fact that it's self-hosted, the agent, those things from a marketing standpoint are just like winning big time because people are like, oh, it's cheaper. It's like, well, maybe not when you consider that
Time.
you could have been selling. Yeah, like you just spent 2 weeks doing something and you could have been out there selling something. You might have made way more money than the $20 it cost you to host it. Like for me, like for instance, I could spin up those servers all day long. But I know from experience that that's not going to be the only thing that I do. Like there's going to be little things that I end up doing that I just don't want to do. So like paying the $20-$50 a month or whatever, like it's kind of like not a big deal.
It's an interesting point of view, man. I mean, like, I think what's really funny about the creator economy, like, is obviously, like, I think if all the creators made their own thing, like, as a team, collectively, like, there's so much money in this AI SaaS, so much value in it, and it moves so quickly. But it's almost like you can't ignore the creator economy if you're a platform. Realistically, dude, it gets to the point where, like, dude, if you want, like, actual adoption of your product, you need creators talking about it. Because like, it's like if you really think about the influence that the space has, like if when Lovable caught a cool wind, right? Cool. I mean, I even got a video coming on Lovable, which is pretty cool. But it's like then other people start doing content on Lovable, and all of a sudden Lovable is the platform. But it's like the number of customers that drives these platforms is crazy. Like actually driving, if you're a SaaS and AI, like, I think influencer marketing or influencer partnerships or just like, it doesn't need to partnership, just say, dude, like, we think this is really cool. How can we make it better? Like, people want to create content that's viable to people. Like, you can't really ignore it as a channel. I think if you're trying to do, like, it is the way to grow your SaaS is like the creator economy for sure.
I agree. Yeah. And making it interesting. And then also knowing, like, I think the people that can understand the difference between marketing and like problem solving, if they can separate them logically in their brain.
Yeah.
Then that's going to be really powerful, right? Because like you can use the marketing for flash. You can ride that kind of that wave that everybody's interested in. But then if it comes back into a product that works really well, then that's going to be the winning combination. But I just think a lot of people right now that they're really just nerding out and having fun with the technology, and that's cool. But I think you should know that,
And that's cool.
because if you don't know that, you're going to get real frustrated. You're not going to make any money, and you probably waste a lot of time. But if you know that you're just nerding out, then all of those things are worthwhile because you're learning something and getting better at it and learning. But there's definitely people that get super overwhelmed because they think they need to keep up with all this, and their businesses are straggling because they're just in constant learn mode and, you know, getting themselves deeper and deeper into things that they don't quite understand, and it's very frustrating. And then they're not making any money, and it, like when you're in that mode, it's going to be very difficult for you because you're just not seeing what's going on. But
Yeah, I think that's really beautifully said, bro. I think it's almost, maybe that's where the distinction we should up. Like, this is a nerd out thing, and this is a thing that like you should just definitely do. Because it's like what I think is really awesome is we want people going down rabbit holes. I love the fact that people can spend 2 weeks building something like really freaking cool, and it just being the best thing that exists, and it may not change, you know, the face of the world, but like it's like what do we call it, like instead of trying to, like, we're always focused on new frontiers, getting into space, exploring the deep ocean, but actually like exploring life's shallow depths, as Rory Sutherland says, like just like, I don't know, asking like what is the optimum Coke can, like I want people in the world who are obsessed about red wine, like then the only thing they do is red wine. Like we need people who are like trying to get the best possible flat white. I love that exists, because then that benefits people in a very narrow way. So we do need the freedom to like explore these little. I've just got this crazy idea. I've not seen it anywhere. I just think this would be cool to do. And like,
yeah,
even
yeah.
if 6 people agree with you, or 6,000, 600,000, then that's cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. As long as you kind of know what you're doing, like, because there's if you, I mean, one of the easiest ways to look at it is like, hey, if you don't have a big runway and you need to sell something, or you got to go back and get a job, or you're gonna get kicked out of your apartment or whatever, it's like your focus has to be way different than somebody that, you know, has some flexibility and is just nerding out. It's like two different. You got to make sure you're in the right camp, because like if you just want to make money, it's not going to be as fun. I can, like, I guess I'll speak for myself. It's not going to be as fun because like just going out there and selling and building these more simple automations that aren't all flashy, it's probably not going to be as fun, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's
But it's going to make you money. It's going to, like, that part will then, but you'll have money. You'll be able to live, and then you'll be able to do what you want shortly after, you know?
you've got to, like, I mean, like, you know, I remember my first startup, it was evenings and weekends. It was 100%. And can you go to your cousin's friend's best friend's sister's wedding? Yeah, probably not, right? But like, actually, but that's the point. You trade off those experiences for something greater later down the line. And it's right. I think the other thing that people neglect when they enter and they want to talk about AI automations is that you have to learn two things: automations and business. You must learn the basics and the foundations. And a lot of it's mindset driven. Like this idea of, like, if you're thinking,
It
I need to
is.
make money by Thursday, dude, you're never going to show up in the right way. You need to have a perspective of, dude, I will do this for 10 years if that is what is required. And I will learn it, and actually not put so much pressure on yourself to get a sale by Friday. Like, here's the good news. Many people have done it. It is replicable. There are things you can do that will make it quicker. But actually, like, focus on developing the skills out, and like, don't feel pressured to get it done by tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. And this is all mindset. Although there really are people though that have to make money by Thursday, you know. So like there is a mindset where you have this hard limit, but you don't let it stress you out. I still remember, like, because there are people out there that are just natural salespeople, and like they're just they naturally go out and they're selling stuff all the time, and usually their product's no good, but they're very good at going out there, and they just inherently know that if they go and sell stuff, they make money. There's another type of personality which is a little bit maybe more product driven. They're really good at making the product, but they just don't ever sell it, or they don't sell it at the volume that they need to sell it. So I remember, like, Ovens, you know, he used to talk, like, there was a video he had about gun to your head marketing, which is a little bit dramatic, but it was basically like, you know, like, if you were literally going to die, if you didn't make a sale by Thursday, you know, you'd probably make it work.
Yeah.
It always gives you anxiety, at least it does for me. I can't speak for everybody. It gives me anxiety to have that mindset, because it's like, it really forces you. I think more of what it is it's forcing you into a frame of mind that just don't want to be in. Like, most of us don't want to go out and sell all the time. Like, it's just not fun. But if you allow yourself to go there because you know how important it is, and then you get past that anxiety and you just do the things you have to do, it's gonna work,
Yeah.
you know. So I agree. Like, you don't want to get stressed out by the make money by Thursday thing, but like there are some people literally like, dude, if you don't make money in the next couple of weeks, like you're gonna start building up credit card debt. You're
Mm.
gonna start, you know what I mean?
I,
Like, so like you got to make the
I
money.
know what you mean 100%. And like, you know, how a lot of people do this. And it's like, the way that I sort of think about it is like, I think the foundation of the business, like, oh, for sure, if they said to you, no, Stephen Jack, you need to go and get X by Friday, we'd do it, right? But it's also like, I think it's my belief that the foundations of your journey are the personal foundations, like your personal finances, your physical health, like your
Yeah.
systems, your knowledge, that sort of stuff. And I kind of think, if someone genuinely came to me and said, Jack, like, I need to make money by Friday, I probably would recommend personally that they go and find the highest leverage skill they've got and actually like crack your day job for like go and get like your
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the smarter way.
I know,
Yeah.
but like you could say, "Dude, here's a crazy crash course on it," and I love this. We talked about like the gun to your head marketing. I think that's really cool. But it's like because you want to really be negotiating from a position of strength. Do you know what I mean? Like, think of
Yeah.
the energy you'd bring to the table if, like, you're like, dude, if you don't buy this right now, we're not waiting for you.
Well, yeah, like all of this is with caveats, right? Because like I speak for myself, like for me, getting a job is like the worst nightmare I could ever imagine.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that funny how quick it changes?
So,
Yeah,
like the gun to your head marketing is better for me personally. It's better than getting a job. But you're right, like that's not everybody's perspective, and maybe not the most healthy, and yeah, maybe not even the best way. Maybe not. Like I can't say. Like I'm just so adverse to it personally
yeah,
that
I agree with you, bro, on that. Like, it's actually weird when you start the entrepreneurial journey. Like, a job is like the last thing you ever want in your life. Like, it's so strange once you get the freedom of people, and it's a cliche. You will work 80 hours for yourself instead of 40 for
yeah, I
right.
work more.
But like
I do for sure.
you'd enjoy it more. It's cool
Yeah, I
because
do.
it's like it's for yourself and like, or if you've got a team, what you're building. So yeah, I think, but it's also both. It's also like it's completely cool to have a job and build. Like I actually think like that's your superpower. Like if you have got a job and you want to transition to selling this stuff full time, it is amazing. Like your day job keeps the lights on, and then you build this really epic future
Yeah.
in your evenings and your weekends, right? But I
You just have to be disciplined, right?
you
Like the
do.
discipline. I was just gonna say because I'm not that disciplined. So like sometimes the only thing that drives me is just like pure fear.
Yeah, isn't that
Just
funny?
like pure fear.
Yeah, you're driven by the fear of failing, but also the drive of doing it. These two like motivational factors oscillate. Stephen, this is a really cool conversation, man. I've really enjoyed chatting it through with you, dude. We're gonna get you back on
Yeah,
every and
man.
vice versa every X amount of months to do the State of Union address. I really enjoy these conversations, brother.
Me too, man. That's awesome. Like I like I wish more of the I wish more there were more of these types of conversations going on. So I appreciate that you're doing it because I think you're kind of like the only one right now. I mean, I see a little bit here and there, but like it seems like you've kind of like really dug into that. So I think that's really cool.
Thank you, bro. We'll do next time out in LA. We will get a coffee, and this time I'll try to be closer than 20 miles apart for us to catch up properly. Like,
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Love to meet up.
beautiful. All right, bro. I'll catch you for the next one.